Well, everyone was waiting for this one. We're back again. We're going to talk about One to Win. It's one of the newest sensations in the trivia universe. Back here with my co-host Brian. How's your day been so far?
All right. No, it's early. It's a Saturday. This is new. We're doing it early. This is good. Tell people what One to Win is. It's fun.
Well, we're going to let the man of the moment explain it, but I can give a brief introduction. So, One to Win, it's got the elements of HQ. So it's got 12 questions, each with three answer options. The only twist to it is only the top three, the podium, they get to split the prize of $50. So 25 for the winner, 15 for second place, and 10 for third place. And it's all about getting as many as you can correctly in the shortest amount of time.
Right. And what's kind of neat about this, I think it's like a mom and pop operation. We're going to have the guy on here, Jesus. I think he does it. That's why I'm most interested to figure out how he's able to do this on his own. And you love it so much, you play in Spanish.
Well, I took 4 years of Spanish in high school, so I was hoping I wouldn't be too rusty. Turns out I still remember most of my vocab, so it's all good fun to play, especially on Sundays. Um, I try to understand what the question is saying, and at the same time, I try to figure out what the answer choices are. So it presents a good challenge in itself.
It's like all the people in India playing HQ. The tables have
uh,
been turned. But no, I'm trying to think. We'll bring everyone in a moment. But no, for me, yeah, we just want to find out how he's doing it. Which you joke is HQ going to sue him? It looks just like HQ.
Well, it's a little different. I mean, technique wise, and even prize wise, there's a clear difference. But what's amazing about this is it's completely bootstrapped. I mean, unlike all the other apps like HQ Trivia, Swagbucks, so on and so forth, they don't have like a big crew. It's a one man, two man army, preparing these questions and presenting it to us twice a week.
Right. And we can, it's probably even, but we'll find out people get paid. All they got to do is pay people within a week and they'll beat HQ by probably about 3 months. Well, we're still waiting for winnings from last August for HQ. So we're joking about that. But no, anything else we should add before we bring people in?
I think it's a good time to bring everyone in. So let's bring in the rest of the legends. We have Chi Hong, we have Mike, we have Chandler, and of course the man of the moment. Let's say hello to Jesus. So how's everyone doing? Let's go
Hi
around the room.
everyone. I'm doing great, by the way.
All right, how about the rest of
Happy.
you guys?
Doing well.
Yep, all good here.
I'm conscious right now. That's great.
Wow. Well, Chandler's currently alive. That's an
Yeah.
update. Okay, very good.
Yeah, so I guess a good place to start it is uh, well, among the players here, how often do you get a chance to play One to Win? For
I
me, it's like I take lunch close to 1 p.m., so it's a good coincidence.
I haven't missed a game since I heard about it, which was about, I think I've only played 5 games maybe or 6. But yeah, it works out nicely. It's right at the end of a Friday, so meetings have slowed down. It's 4 p.m. on the East Coast, and just before I have to leave to pick up my son from daycare, so it's a little window where I actually can focus. So it's perfect for me.
Yeah, so I've been playing the game before it had an official title. I think it was known as Telegram Trivia back in the day. It was a lot easier to win back then. There's a lot of strong competitors these days, but I at least try to make one of the two games. The English, obviously, I can play that. The Spanish is a big challenge for me in Canada. That's not one of the languages that we learn. So I try to make use of that Google Translate, the Chrome Translate, to play, and I do okay considering the language gap there.
Yeah, actually, the Google Translate stuff is pretty impressive now that I fixed the context issues that were happening. It's actually pretty accurate most of the time. When it's not, it's awful, but gets
Yeah.
it up done.
It's challenging. I mean, once even if you overcome the language thing, there's a lot more cultural references, which on the North American side of things, we are not familiar with the music, so we have to try to make educated guesses with those types of questions.
Yeah.
Quickly.
Yeah. So, question for Jesus here. How did this all start? Like, what kind of motivated you to start One2Win?
So I think it was like July or June 2020, and after HQ had shut down, many of like a small group of friends we had on Telegram, they were doing like small quizzes with 12 questions and prize money using the Telegram built-in quiz feature. But the problem with that is that it's not really well designed for this, because when you tap on an answer, you immediately see the correct answer. So it takes two people playing together to be able to win all the time. And it was my friend's money on the line, so I thought, I think maybe I can try and do something better. So I took HQ Relive, my old project, and I kind of like jerry rigged it together in like a week to go live. Like, I think it was like a Tuesday, and I wanted to be live on Saturday. So I had to like do like all the graphics and all the stuff like as fast as I could.
And to think you've made so much progress now. Yeah, Brian, what were you going to say?
I was going to say, so how many people are involved? You do it from your house? So where do you do it? And what do you need to do this?
So right now I'm in the studio, actually. It's kind of lonely without Mike here. And so we have like this green screen. We've got a bunch of big spotlights and ring lights. We have like a lot of stuff. And I use a DSLR connected with a capture card to my laptop here.
Yes.
And so basically that's about it in hardware. I share the rent of a small store here in Cadiz, so I have like my little room to do this in. We used to do it from Mike's house, and like the very first versions, I did it from my house. I had like a light bulb right here in my face. I use my phone as a camera, laptop microphone, and I had like green foam with packing tape.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like really, really, really bad, but it worked. So
right. No, but the backbone is all on that laptop.
Yeah,
it all runs through your laptop. That's all you need.
So I can actually do it from anywhere. I mean, I've got the servers, but I manage everything from my laptop, and that's how I like launch the graphics and everything.
And it's impressive. I mean, it's just as good as HQ.
No, I try. I try.
Oh, no, hold on. Why is it better? Because you write the questions. Why is it better, Abai?
Well. First of all, I don't think I've ever come across like ambiguity with questions. I mean, everything's well done. And yeah, I also like the graphics too. Like, I guess from a more aesthetic perspective, it looks a little better than HQ. Yeah,
well, I didn't see that coming.
Oh, and tell people about the binoculars.
Oh yeah, that's actually a new thing. Like Alan suggested it to us like last week. And I thought, I think I can probably hack this in real quick. Shouldn't take too long. So I had it ready for like the next Sunday. So one day turnaround, which ain't bad at all.
No, it was great. I was playing yesterday, and that first one was easy, and you almost tricked me because you were talking about you're talking about binoculars, and the question was about a microscope.
Yeah.
So originally I had binoculars, and then I switched to microscope, and then the host said everyone wins binoculars, and I thought they were actually getting real binoculars, and I was a little upset for about 3 minutes, thinking, man, I should have got the wrong answer, And then also I was thinking, how in the hell are they sending people binoculars? Those are expensive. But then I used it on one of the questions. It's like, who wants to be a millionaire? You can see what everyone's doing. It was fantastic.
Yeah, it's one of the things we added for the anniversary show back in October last year. We've been doing the Spanish version for well over a year now. And I really, really wanted to like ship new stuff on that date, which is probably not the wisest choice, because if I screw up the anniversary game, I will feel bad about it forever. So I thought, I guess the safest thing will be to just redo the server entirely from scratch and just try it live. What could go wrong? And it actually worked out pretty well. So we had binoculars, we had surveys. We actually asked people whether they wanted 3 prize like 3 prizes to be given out or 5. So I wanted to like make it a bit more interactive and more fun.
At the end, that was neat. Oh, we have a question. Oh, we got the
It's better
legendary
because
Googler
the
here.
format
Oh,
doesn't really allow for people to use multiple devices, and yeah, I think that's very key because we're seeing all the shenanigans going down in HQ. I think we saw on the leaderboards over the recent few weeks a lot of suspect usernames, and the prizes were increasing as a result. Looks like they've just started to process payments.
Right.
but that's the thing. You mentioned HQ. The same 87 people that play HQ are now playing. I don't know if you're aware of this. There's like a core group of about 92 people that play HQ, and 4 of them are here today. And then everyone has found your app. I recognized all the people in the chat are all the people that play HQ.
Yeah, actually, I'm pretty happy that like people who like HQ actually like this because it kind of means that it does at least stack up to it, which is kind of key. I mean, ideally, I would like to see bigger numbers so I can like do like bigger prizes and that stuff. But slow and steady wins the race. I'd rather grow slowly because maybe the server will crash with 10,000 people. I don't know. We'll have to find out.
And then where are you located? Where do you do it from?
So the Spanish version, I do it from here in sunny Cádiz, in the south of Spain. And the English version, so Tim does it from his home in New York, and he streams video to my laptop, and then I stream it back to the world from my house. So it's kind of a convoluted thing, but it works surprisingly well.
Okay, now I figured out why we're doing the Zoom at 10:30 a.m. on a Saturday morning. It's like 7:30 in Spain.
Exactly.
Wow, see, this is an international show. We also have Chi Hong from Canada, but that's fantastic. So you do it yourself there on Sundays, the Spanish version, and then you're doing it. I go, okay, that's the World Wide Web. Someone in Spain. Wow. Okay.
And my brother from Barcelona is keeping an eye out on the servers because we've had some weird issues. So last Sunday, while we were live, he was from Barcelona checking everything to make sure everything runs smoothly. So it's a completely distributed effort.
This is interesting. I talk too much. Let somebody else ask a question here.
I have a question for Chi Hong because he's been playing this for longer than all of us. Wait, so how did you manage to find it and just give us your timeline.
Yeah, apologize if you hear any background noise. My kids are sort of having fun on a Saturday, but
no fun allowed. No fun allowed.
I was somehow invited to this Telegram group of HQ trivia players. I must have known someone, and so I was invited in the group. And so we normally chat about HQ trivia after the show. This is when it was still running daily, and as Jesus was mentioning, people started to submit their own questions, and we were just answering them for fun, and that kind of evolved from there. So I was already on the inside, I guess you could say, when this was kind of going beta. So that's how I kind of knew about it, and once the English version launched, that was when I started to spread the word and get you guys involved in the playing as well.
Well, thank you for that, by the way.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Actually, the first few games were kind of wild because it was me hosting and producing and doing everything all at the same time, and that was kind of hard, but it did allow me to get a feel for what the game should be like. So when I was convinced it was good enough, then I talked to Mike, and I already knew more or less what I wanted the timings to be like, and the script what it should look like, and all of that.
I'm actually curious in terms of how you were able to select the hosts. I'm not familiar with Mike. I'm sure he's famous for doing other stuff, but in terms of the English version with Tim Dunn, obviously he's been a host on HQ Trivia, HQ Words. How did you know that he would be a good fit for your English edition?
So honestly, it basically boils down to I had seen him interact with fans on Twitter every single day before and after the show, and almost during. And he seemed actually a really good person who actually cared about what he was doing. So I thought, I think this will be like, it will be really cool to have Tim on board, and we all loved him in like this Telegram group. So one day at like 6 a.m., we were joking around on Twitter, and I told him to come host with us, and that worked.
Yeah, I was
You
going to
struck
ask the same
gold.
question.
It was simple. It was actually really simple.
Nice. Yeah, Tim is great at Jihyung. I was going to ask that same question, so you took the words out of my mouth. But Tim's fantastic.
Yeah, and I'm aware that he does like a trivia night. I don't know if it was like at a comedy bar or something like that, but I was aware that he was doing something outside of HQ in the trivia space too.
Yeah, I think he had like his Twitch show to Quiz with Q. I'm not sure he's doing it anymore. I don't think so. It was pretty fun, but it was not an interactive thing. It was just a stream you could watch. It was still really fun though, and he actually had a lot of really nice ideas. We actually usually chat like a bit before and after the game, and like we share ideas we've had and like things we're working on and all that. So everyone like contributes everything they can, which is nice.
I've got a question for the right-hand side of the room because they've made the podium on more occasions than the rest of us have. I'm just interested to know, like, what's your approach like? Do you know most of the answers, or do you go with your gut most of the time? Who wants to go first?
Oh, I'm unmuted. I'll go first. So the first 2 or 3 games I played, I kind of stared at the answers and thought about it, and then my time was terrible. And so what I started doing was, as soon as the question comes up, I do a quick read and then go with my gut, and then I give it more thought. So it's always just sort of a stab. And honestly, sometimes if I have even if I have no idea, if something is totally foreign, I'll hit something and then I'll try to logic it out. But usually it's that quick gut thought. If I can get that under a second or under 2 seconds, and then move on and fix it if I have to. But otherwise, yeah, it's if you don't know it, you don't know it.
Actually, that's a strategy that I hadn't thought of. And one day, like long time ago, in the beginning of the Spanish show, I saw someone who had like 10 correct in like 30 something seconds. I'm like, how's that possible? So I actually went and I looked at the logs, and they were doing just that. They will tap anything, like whatever, in the first like 500 milliseconds, and then they will read the question and actually change their answer if needed. So, it's actually, they made a game. Not everyone has even thought of that. I didn't.
Yeah, I usually don't tap blindly. I'll usually give it a second to, like, the fastest educated guess I can give, and then and I often change to the wrong answer. Sometimes giving it too much thought is bad.
Answer changing is dangerous, to say the least.
Yeah. Jihyung. Oh, we lost Jihyung. Okay.
Well, generally speaking, at least from my end, I'm a bit more. How should I say it? I like to play it safe a bit. So even if like something looks like it may be right, I always like to be doubly certain. That's why even though I got all 12 questions right yesterday, I had the second worst time, like 60 something seconds, and the person who won, they got it in like 35, 36 seconds, and I couldn't believe it. Like taking 3 seconds to get each questions right on average. That's unreal.
Yeah, it's actually pretty crazy. But with things like picture questions, we can be pretty sure they're actually not looking things up on Google, which is like one of the main reasons I actually created that question format. And there's a couple of others I have in mind. Just I don't have enough time right now to implement them, but I've got a couple ideas that will make it even hard for people to look things up online.
Oh yeah, Jihyung, you can go ahead.
Oh, I just wanted to say that, like, the quiz that we had yesterday, I think there were at least 20 people that got all the questions correct, which is a lot higher than usual. I thought I was going to place top 5. I wasn't even close. My time was pretty bad. But one thing I really remembered in the early days playing on Telegram was that, the questions were always savage, to use that term. and then I started to have to rethink how I answered. Like I would choose like the least obvious or the like try to do the reverse psychology thinking, and then but that never it didn't truly transfer over to this version of like One2Win. I mean, yes, there's still some savage type questions, but I feel it's more of the traditional trivia. I think because you want to appeal, you don't want to make it overly difficult, and then you're gonna scare people away.
Yeah.
But at the same time, with like the picture questions, they can be especially difficult. Like this week wasn't too bad with the outline of France, but looking at a bunch of different cats or a bunch of different flowers, like I don't know. So I like it when it's a bit more challenging. I think it does help to really, the winners that win like really deserve to win because they know all the answers. Right?
Yeah, I was actually surprised with I think it was 23 people getting 12 correct yesterday because I thought it was a bit harder than it ended up being. But it's really, really, really hard to figure out how hard the game is really going to be. There are some questions that I think are super easy, and then a lot of people get it wrong, and the other way around. It's really, really hard to balance, and I think we've gotten better at it over the year.
And there are questions that you're expecting to be difficult, but then a lot of people end up getting it right. Like if we look at the last question on yesterday's game, the one that I had written, the winner of the first season of American Idol is best known for which of these songs? I guess the song I picked for the right answer was a little obvious, but then again, seeing like 75 out of 100 people getting it right, that was quite the interesting surprise.
Right. The reason why you thought it was difficult was because you were a toddler when American Idol first came out. So, like for us old folks, we're well aware of all of the past winners.
And yeah, one more thing I do want to share. It's fun to write questions, but it's super difficult to write a question that'll force a lot of people to pick one of the wrong answers. Like I know how to write a question that'll produce an even split, like 33, 33, 33 all across. Yeah, some of us elder folks remember. Yeah, that's right. So I know that. I've already sent out a bunch of submissions. I know Mike's interested too. So,
I have a bunch coming over.
Hey Zeus, has Abai ever sent you a bad question?
I don't think so. Like there are some I haven't used yet because maybe maybe I wanted to reward them or actually find a reliable source because that's something I really, really care about. I want everything to be verifiable because otherwise people complain and oh boy, do they complain. And so there are some I haven't been able to source just yet, but they're always kind of interesting and more or less in the style of what we do.
No. Abai works hard at those. Be on the lookout for some country and western questions. That's what Abai listens to.
Oh, it's a little tricky to make questions on those, but I'll be sure to give it a try.
And he'll also be asking about the Australian Open.
I mean, I think I actually had a question about the Australian Open not long ago, in Spanish maybe.
Yeah, no, I'm joking. Abai loves to. No, I tease Abai. He is like a depository of questions, and we've all been researched. He's been waiting his whole life to meet you. He didn't even know who you were. He was waiting to meet somebody because he tried sending questions to something called Display, and he was rebuffed with extreme prejudice. And so he's happy to find somebody that's Display basically told him to cease and desist. But you have you have welcomed him with open arms.
Yeah, I mean, because I think it helps also make the game more engaging for everyone when they know they can influence it. Like you're not only watching and playing, like you can actually change the game. Like just give me your ideas, give me your suggestions, whatever. Because or the survey, for example, which I don't think any other trivia app has done that. But every day at the end of the game, we have a little survey with like 6-7 questions about performance, difficulty, and suggestions in general. And I do read that like every single day, and I make sure to like act on any feedback that I see could make the game better.
No, that's it. You care. I mean, when I saw that
I do.
survey, that's one of the best surveys I've ever seen. It was that's what that's what you care what you're doing. You're doing this. How much? Obviously, it's your time. Is there bandwidth? How much does it cost for you to roughly to produce a show?
So it depends, because one of the biggest costs is the text messages. So in Spanish, for example, I think we're spending more on text messages than on the actual price. So that's quite something. And in English, we're getting close. I would say producing one of these shows, and let's run up like $250-$300 maybe,
Yeah,
more or less.
Yeah, which isn't a lot, but it is. I mean, it's yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah. So no, that's why I was wondering, because Abai and I were thinking, can we do one on sports? And now the answer is no. Abai and I will not be spending $300 a week just to have fun.
I mean, there's a lot of ways you can actually do it for way cheaper. For example, in the first, like when it was Telegram trivia, we didn't have text messages, we didn't have a CDN, we didn't have external hosts, we didn't have a soundtrack. So it was basically a two-stream budget. I think I spent like €10 on the first show because I bought the phone.
Yeah, buy what's €10, like $15.
12, 13.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, that's even better. A buy. We can afford $12.
Most definitely. Most definitely. Okay, want to go to Chandler real quick. He hasn't had a chance to say a whole lot. How's your One2Win journey been so far?
It's been rough. Like, the questions are hard, and yeah, I appreciate they're hard but fair, Jesus, because like you sometimes have apps that are hard, but just absolute impossible to comprehend in 10 seconds. No, these were all fair, and I somehow and with my luck, I got 4th place last week, so I think I got a binoculars because of that.
Yeah, actually.
Out of the money, but binoculars, small victories.
I mean, they can come in handy.
Yeah.
We have another question. So, could you develop an app-based infrastructure and start using push notifications instead of SMS?
Yeah,
I've seen that with HQ and a bunch of other games.
I would really like to do that, but developing an iOS app and an Android app and then keeping them up to date and syncing it with the web version, that's actually a lot of work. I think there are ways we can shortcut a lot of that, but it's basically a lot of work that I just don't have the time for right now. So, SMS was actually a stopgap till we had an app. I wanted to use web push notifications, but they don't work on iOS and they suck on Android. So that was a waste of time. I spent like 5 hours implementing them, and then I just deleted all the code. It was useless.
Oh no.
So, yeah, whatever. I had to try though, because that would be super nice. And it will actually allow me to use tildes and accents in my text messages, which I hate that I can't do that. Actually, we had this kind of problem with the first show of the year because we wanted to tell people Happy New Year in Spanish, which would be Feliz Año Nuevo, but you can actually use couldn't be me going live without something weird. Hang on. Yep.
Something weird just happened.
What just happened there?
The camera shuts down after, I think, 20-30 minutes or something like that, which actually means we have to keep our shows under 20-30 minutes.
Yeah, isn't that like a thing that you can't have it over 30 minutes, else it's a video camera and you've got to pay more? I think that's an actual thing.
So yeah, what was I saying? Oh yeah, so Feliz Año Nuevo, you can't use until the in text messages, and if I had, without realizing, it would have been converted to Feliz Año Nuevo, which has a slightly different meaning. It means Happy New Anus.
Oh no.
So yeah, I had to fix that somehow.
That's a nice message as well.
That's what we say to the people who scored last.
I just thought of something. Do you have a tech background? What did you do? What do you do in real life? How did you know that you would be able to do this?
Hubris, maybe.
Okay.
I'm a game developer. I work on 2 commercial titles
Oh,
from 2011 to 2015. And then I took a year-long break because I burnt myself out. And I've been developing software for like most of my life. So I figured maybe I should be able to get this working more or less smoothly. And, it was a challenge, of course, but I did manage to get it to a pretty good shape in like a week. It
Right.
really helped that I had like the HQ Relive thing that I made because I took the code and just made it actually live, which is something I actually wanted to do for HQ, but things didn't materialize that way.
I have a-
I'm most impressed. Oh, go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, I have a question. So back to the binoculars. I had only even heard about them through just talking to others. Is there a plan to make those like a reward every week, or keep them rare so that it's a lot fewer people have the opportunity?
So for now, we are actually going to stick with giving them out to the top 10 players every week, Fridays and Sundays. And we also randomly just give them out, or we like on Instagram, for example, I told people to give me their usernames, and I added 3 to every person who did that. And in the future, when I actually have the time, I would like to make it so you can invite a friend, and both of you get one. So I think that should also help growing the game.
I remember in the early days of HQ, for me at least, like the extra lives were a hot commodity. So I was referring everyone and like hounding them to play a game so I could get my
Yeah,
cards.
I'm pretty sure I single-handedly invited like 40 people to HQ. At some point, all of my friends in real life were playing. We could actually meet up at 3 a.m. just to, because 9 p.m. Eastern time, and we would like yell the answers out at each other. It was actually really, really, really fun. And it's also one of the biggest reasons I actually work on this, because it actually really helped bring people together, HQ. And I wanted to do the same for my friends here in Spain.
In addition to the binoculars, how about the 50-50 or eraser? You could use that on one question. I know that's kind of copying HQ, but
yeah, I've considered that, but I actually think it would be more fun to try and come up with some novel concepts.
Here's one that might be from Big Brain, but how about a bonus hint? Like, if you got it, you got a second hint that might help you guide to the real answer.
Yeah, that's actually a pretty good idea. I could probably use magnifying glass or something like that. Oh, I'm really bad at icons, okay? But yeah, no, that's actually a kind of decent idea. We'll have to think about, how it should look like and how it should work, but I'll actually think about it.
What's your process for? So you said you've gotten a lot of questions and you want to get sources for them and make sure you don't get people that are complaining, which I'm sure is a headache. What's your process for vetting the questions and doing the research?
So usually, most of the time, I just spend like a couple hours going through the entire script, and I look up every single question on like wherever I can find, and try to find reliable sources, not like some random blab. Or there are some things that you think as a fact, for a fact, and then you're actually wrong, and everyone is. And those are the questions where I know everyone's gonna like get eliminated. So usually, yeah, it's just doing a lot of research, a lot of Google searches, Wikipedia, finding the sources on Wikipedia. More or less what you'd expect, really.
Okay.
So how long does it take, like, from, I guess, the inception of questions to, like, rehearsal to, like, the actual show? Like, how long does it take in total for one game?
So the Spanish games, Mike usually gets me 6 questions by Friday or Saturday, sometimes Sunday morning. I write the other 6 or 8 because I like to write a couple extras in case we end up writing something very similar, which has happened before, especially when we do news questions. And I would say it takes about 6-7 hours. I mean, we could probably bring that down, but I like to do like a couple graphics and stuff like that to illustrate the questions, because it makes the game like more dynamic.
The answer is always 42.
I remember there was one week where we had the trivia. It might have been Telegram at the time, but there was a question about, I don't know, it was car tires or something, and then almost the exact same question appeared on HQ Trivia like a few days later. And that must have been
Yeah. What was the original color of car tires? Black, white, or red? Yeah, that was the one.
Yeah, and when we saw that question appear on HQ Trivia, we started to wonder if maybe they were somehow participating in your trivia show. So,
It actually happened more than once, I think, which was really funny.
so too.
And I remember actually I had one question like written but unused as of like, and I'm not going to use it anymore. It was something like, which of these sports has been played in space? And I think I had darts, javelin, and football. And the same question with the same answers appeared on HQ like a couple months later before I had used it. I was like, oh man, like you guys ruined. I like that question. I actually really liked space questions, and you guys ruined it for me. But that's gonna happen. Apparently I have some questions that were almost verbatim from HQ, like the dress one. That was fun.
Oh, okay.
I have a few space questions coming your way.
Awesome.
I'm just trying to think. I got to get going here, but there must be a big goal. What is your ultimate dream for One2Win?
Ideally, I would really like for it to be maybe not profitable, but break even, so it doesn't actually cost me money. And I would just like to do it for like as long as I want. I don't think I'm going to get bored of it, especially because, as I continue to grow, I will be able to get people to assist me. I would like to have a producer, for example, and backup hosts in case something happens. But, that's basically what I want it to be. I don't want it to change, like, basically at all, because I'm really happy with what I put together here. And, like, our tiny team is really, really awesome, and working with them is super fun. We actually have, like, a lot of fun, like, writing the scripts and actually producing the show. So, I don't want it to change all that much. Just go bigger and get more people on board.
How long does it take to put together a script? Just out of wonder.
So it depends. Like, there are days where I will sit down on my computer and I will write like 10 questions in under an hour, like 10 actually good questions. And then there are days I will just stare at the screen and like, I'm not coming up with anything. Like, the well has run dry. So it really depends. It can be as little as, because there's questions and then there's like all the awful jokes I like to writing. So should be like, I don't know, could be between 2 and 6, 7 hours. Like, really depends.
I have a question.
I'm gonna hop off, but I just wanted to thank Jesus. You're a genuine guy. I know Abai well, and it was when he told me that you were going to have you. I wanted to make sure I was here today, and I look forward to playing. I'm not going to play in Spanish, but on Fridays I will play all the time. Yeah, thank you, Jesus. It's also fun to see all my trivia friends here. Everyone have a good day.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
You too, Brian.
Okay, thank you.
All right. So I guess
I actually
now
had-
I guess well yeah
I had one last, maybe, I don't know if we're wrapping up, but I had a question about, so you write the script. To what extent do you have a role in the US show's script, or do you write jokes, or does Tim, what percentage of the improv or the jokes are Tim's and yours?
So the intro is all Tim, and the outro is mostly improvised most of the time, I think. And then for each question, I will always write something, and if I come up with some good jokes, I will like write them in there. I've been trying to figure out what like Tim's style is, so I can make jokes that he would make. I've been doing well, and then he'll just go through it and change whatever he wants. So
it all feels really natural. I mean, he's great, and if they're scripted or not, you can't tell. It seems like he's kind of riffing, so he
does it a lot. He does it a lot, and I like actually sometimes he cracks me up because it's like I didn't see that coming.
Yeah, I think I remember the one from the misspelled words. Remember I think it was January 14th where I had written like a little over half the quiz. So the question was, which of these words is spelled correctly? Is it accommodate, embarrassment, or indispensable? If I remember correctly, Tim was like, I was a terrible speller when I was in school, but now spelling skills are very important, or should I say they're indispensable with an
Yeah,
A? And
yeah.
if you want to avoid embarrassment, with a double R. So that leaves accommodate, which is your right answer.
Yeah, that's my doing. I really like trying to like put in the answers or like some lyrics inside the explanations because I think it makes it like it's a funny, silly little corny joke. And then he added the fact that he's a terrible speller, which apparently is a really true story. he, he actually told me he lost a spelling bee on some word I don't remember right now. I didn't know. I would have failed with that word too. So
Whatever.
Actually, I have a question as well. I've been analyzing the answers in terms of
No,
whether.
don't give that away.
No. I'm not gonna reveal too much, but I've noticed that there's certain trends. Is that purposely done, or do you think they're random in terms of which position the answers?
So I actually do alphabetic sort. So if there's a pattern, it's completely like I used to not sort them alphabetically, and then I will try and make it not look like there's a pattern, but then actually you are creating a pattern by trying to remove it.
Yes.
So I just went for alphabetic sort. I was going to randomize it, but alphabetic is nicer.
That is my preference as well. It reads easier to me.
Yeah, except for things like neither or both. That's always at the end, but.
Yeah, our friend Brian, who had to leave, he has a always go B, and I remember seeing that in the chat just as the picture question came up, and I'm wondering, how do you go B on a picture question? So it was...
Yeah. So I would say that this is A, B, C, D. That's how I do it. But you can just also go clockwise. I don't know. That's up to you.
Yeah, especially I think on Q12 on HQ, he's like, it's always going to be B.
It's always
gonna be
B.
Yeah, and I think for the last maybe 5 months, it's like 67, almost 70% B.
It's always B unless I'm still in the game. Then it's not B.
Wait, so you're playing along too?
I haven't played in a while because 3 a.m. and I've been working like a lot lately, getting up really early. So I'm usually either asleep or about to. But sometimes I just forget or my phone dies because I have like this old iPhone with like 2-hour battery life. But I do try to play when I can because I do still enjoy it now and then, and I also like to see what they're doing because that also gives me inspiration for my own ideas and my own questions and all that.
Yeah, another question I had was the screen recording. So I've encountered this weird issue with both my phone and my iPad. So whenever I try to record it with my phone, it says it doesn't even save the video in the first place. Sometimes the recording even stops somewhere in the middle and doesn't save it. But then I do get successful recordings on my iPad. But there's no audio at all. I mean, you can see on my YouTube channel.
Yeah.
I know Chandler records like HQ stuff, and that doesn't have any problem. But I was wondering, do you record One2Win stuff?
Yeah, I record every single show. I use my iPhone 6s, works fine, sound and all. Sometimes it runs out of space halfway through, and then it messes up the recording, which is not great. But I've got a couple other players who do record it too, like to help me troubleshoot issues with the connection and all that. So I can usually use the recordings, even though the sound isn't great. I could like always splice in the sound from the actual, stream, because we don't delete any of the streams. I still have like the very first stream I ever did. So
can we find that, or can we find that on YouTube or?
I know someone uploaded it at some point, but I don't know. I have the second one. I have the second one, but not the first one. But maybe we shouldn't, because it was very, very, very early days, like copyrighted sounds and music. It was like placeholders, because I just really wanted to go live and I didn't want to waste time finding sounds. And royalty-free music, everyone has heard it like thousands of times.
Right.
Like Kevin MacLeod.
What was that?
Kevin MacLeod is like one of the guys who makes like a bunch of royalty-free music, and if you go on YouTube, you will surely hear a song made by him like in your first 10 minutes. He's super popular.
Got it. All right, I think this should be a good time to round it off. So I think we can go around the room. Final words, Jesus. You want to start?
Yeah, well, thanks for having me here. And, it's actually been a long time since I was on this side of the camera. But, I think I did more or less well. And, I'm really happy that you folks are enjoying the game. That's the only reason I do it. I'm not making any money of it, as you can probably tell. So, honestly, just hearing people actually tell their friends they like it, it actually means a lot to me, because that's the point, really. We're just trying to have fun and do something nice for the world. So, thanks for your feedback and for liking this little thing we're putting together.
Chandler, you want to go next?
I don't know what else to say besides One2Win is a really well-oiled machine, and it's just a surprise that Jesus is able to do so much with so little resources. And it's a really fun game. If you aren't playing it on Friday or Sunday, you should.
Mike?
Yeah, I'm going to echo that. I'm even more impressed with everything after hearing how few resources you're really working with, we all here play a lot of trivia games and apps, and we see a lot come and a lot go, and this is definitely one that we hope sticks around, and it looks like it's going to, because it's great. We love it. So
I'm going to try my best. I will be really sad if I have to shut it down. I will probably cry later.
And how soon are we going to see some of your questions?
Sorry?
No, this one was Mike.
Oh, so we had gone back and forth on Twitter a bit. I said, I have a bunch, should I just send them over? And I was kind of tweaking them, but I'll send them over this weekend.
Yeah, sure.
So hopefully we'll see some maybe on Friday.
You can
keep an eye out.
You'll definitely see a trend in the categories for me. And I have at least one in there that I think meets the category of steering people down one path. So
yeah, what is it? A stumbler, right?
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah, stumbler.
Those are really fun, little thing.
So thanks. Keep up the good work.
Thanks, and thanks for playing.
Of course.
Yeah, I think I want to get in on this writing trivia questions, because that would mean one less that I'd have to think about during the show.
I mean, that's your reward for doing it. You get 1 point.
Yeah, because I think I reached top 5 maybe once or twice. I don't think I'm going to get closer than that. But I think what really speaks well to your to One2Win as a game, as a trivia platform, is that you've hit over 100 players, and a lot of people I think are playing for fun, right? They're not like, some of us are more hardcore in the sense that we're playing really to win.
Yeah.
But there's going to only be 3 winners per show, but yet you're still getting a lot of turnout, and I think that speaks really well to your product.
Yeah, and people are actually sticking around till the very end. I guess no elimination will do that too. But I know of people who don't even speak English who play the English edition on Fridays just because they like Team, even though they don't understand anything they say.
Yeah, and I think it goes the other way too with Mike, and everyone's always talking about his shirt that he's wearing. He's very dramatic when he speaks. I have very limited Spanish, but I turn on the translate and I'm able to follow along, and yeah, I mean, having no eliminations is great. And we, unlike a lot of other types of trivia, you don't always have someone getting perfect, right? Like, you can win with just 11 or sometimes even 10. So I think that speaks well.
We actually really like it when people win with 11 or 10 answers, right? We actually try to make that happen, but it's going to get harder as more people play, and you can't just keep on making the game harder, because then people are gonna leave.
Yeah, so I'll try to come up with a couple of questions as well that stir people go
And
along the wrong path.
speaking of Mike's shirts, there's like this funny thing that happened last Sunday. So we were like arriving at the studio, and I'm like, "Well, what's the shirt gonna be today, Mike?" And he's like, "Oh, I have a new one that I want to show off. Like, I haven't worn it yet." And he's like, "Oh yeah, what's it like?" And he says, "It's green." And I'm like, "Green, Mike?" And he's like, "Yeah, what? Oh God." That wouldn't work. Actually, he tried it and it looked actually kind of cool because it had like this big design in the middle and you could only see that, and that looked perfect and was like the the Nintendo DS Brain Age game with a floating head. It was pretty much that. It was
Oh,
really- it was
I
really
missed last
funny.
Sunday's game, but hopefully we can find that somewhere, maybe on Instagram.
Wait, last Sunday's game?
Yeah, and actually he didn't go through with it when,
Oh, he did.
but
I do
it
have a
may
recording.
it may happen. It may happen someday. It would be really funny.
Yeah, so I guess when it comes to One2Win, there's nothing quite like it. Like everything's well put together. All the questions are nicely researched. Like I said, there's no ambiguity or anything, and I think it's just destined for more and more progress going forward. I think we've got a very solid core group of players who have a wealth of experience playing other trivia apps, and I enjoy both the English and Spanish version. I mean, you've got to love a fun set of challenging questions, and the beauty of One2Win is even if you get one wrong, you still, like what Jihang said, you can't beat yourself up too much about it, because there have been a few occasions when if you get 11 correct, that still is good enough to win. In fact,
Yeah.
the only time I made the podium on the Spanish version, I think I missed two there, but I had like pretty decent timing.
Yeah, it could have been. It was a long time ago, but back then we had way less players, and you could actually see people winning with 9 or 10 correct answers.
Oh,
But
really?
yeah, I
Wow.
don't think that's going to happen anymore. Telegram trivia, I think people could win with 8, but I went hard on this. I went really, really, really hard on my friends.
Yeah, you did.
But some of them were really funny questions.
Yeah, and then last but not least, it was a blast to have you on, Jesus. We've definitely learned a lot in this conversation, and of course, it was nice to link up with everyone else. I know we're all big fans of One2Win, and it's good. It's just going to remain that way. And with that being said, thanks everyone for listening in, and we'll be back soon. Take care.
Have a nice day.
You too.
Thanks, guys.